Greetings, YouTube. If you follow my channel weekly, it is no stranger to the semester starting that on Mondays and Thursdays, for a variety of reasons, I don't usually check my line messages until I'm fixing to go to bed, which unfortunately means about 2 a.m. But today, my man, Mr. Brian Shadowstrike, had sent me hours and hours and hours before the time of recording this a vegan Thor champion spotlight. That's right. Puts the rags to riches. How much meat is going to be on this guy's bones now that he is getting buffed? I would imagine that we will have a better idea of guillotine tomorrow. At least if history serves correct on buff champions. When I say tomorrow, I guess technically I mean today. And those of you across the pond, you might be waking up to this video for all I know. I also am so tired I feel like I'm getting things in my eye. But we're moving on. Okay, we've got, base description. That's all well and good, but that's not why we're here. Thor Ragnarok excels at stacking debuffs on the opponent to both disable and deal considerable damage to them. His special 3 inflicts a shock debuff, as well as grants him a buff that gives a chance to inflict a shock debuff with each attack he lands. Each time a shock debuff is inflicted, Thor also has an additional chance to inflict both stun and armor break debuffs to further his combos and damage. Now, I gotta be honest. Again, if you follow my channel, you know I am all about choice, not about chance. I talk all the time about the values of quote-unquote deals in the Marvel Casino of Champions. That's why selectors are a beautiful thing. Versus crystals, which give you a lot of times a 1 out of 6 chance for something that if you had a selector, it'd be a 100% chance. So, in this case, you want the chance to be pretty high, because if you, say, have a 20% chance at something, that's an 80% chance it doesn't happen. It's kind of like saying you have a 20% chance to pull a 6-star from Mythic Crystal. Well, it's true, but you have an 80% chance to get a 5-star for $40 on Wednesdays with the What If crystals, for example. Inflicting a stun debuff while the opponent is suffering from an armor break debuff will deal an additional massive burst of physical damage. Utilizing his Boon of the Gods power gain buff to fire off special attacks frequently is the key to maximizing Thor's damage. So when I read that, I think it's really important not only to fire off specials, but to get to that special 3 as quickly as possible. Strengths: high energy damage. Thor can inflict shock debuffs at a high rate to deal constant energy damage. Great versus armor stacking opponents. Thor has many ways to inflict stacking armor break debuffs to deal with any armor stacking opponent. Weaknesses: power lock, power burn effects. Thor relies on his Boon of the Gods to gain power. Thus, power lock and power burn like attacks are a great counter. Purify: characters that can shrug Thor's debuffs can mitigate a large chunk of his overall damage, thus turning the carnivore back into a vegetarian or even vegan Thor. The following stats and abilities are blah blah blah. Always active shock effects. Incoming shock effects suffer 90% duration. Why not just 100%? You know? Why not just round it up a little bit? Is that me being too greedy for this? Each time Thor inflicts a shock debuff, he has a 16% chance to also inflict a stun debuff lasting 2 seconds. Again, 16% is so random. Why not a 40% chance or a 50% chance? Is that going to break the game too much and cause too much of a stun lock? I don't know. We used to see that in pre-patch 12.0 Scarlet Witch. Those of you watching this, if you know, you know. You were there. Each time Thor inflicts a shock debuff, he has a 45% chance to inflict an armor break debuff. Again, 16%, 45%. 45% is a lot better than 16%, but still at random percent. Removing an armor up buff and reducing armor rating by 900 for 10 seconds. Boon of the Gods. This is really what this champion is now all about. Each time Thor gains 40 hits on his combo meter, and 40 hits is a good amount to ramp up, or is struck 20 times, he gains a Boon of the Gods passive max 2 stacks. Boon of the Gods fills Thor's power meter over 6 seconds and is unaffected by ability accuracy reductions. I wish that was, like 20 hits. It should be 20 and 20, or 20 and 10. How many fights do you use a rank 3 6-star and you don't even get to 40 hits? I can think of quite a few. If Thor is struck by a special attack, Boon of the Gods is removed. Well, that's, old and new, still the same, still normal. Developer notes, we've changed the Boon of the Gods to count down now instead of counting up. So be careful when he gets close to 0. I guess that's helpful. When the opponent intercepts Thor's dash, 30% chance to auto-block the attack. This block is considered well-timed and can activate the parry mastery. Okay, we've grown accustomed to that as well. When an attack inflicts a stun, if the opponent has an armor break debuff, the attack deals a burst of additional physical damage equal to 250% of the damage by the attack. That's good. Developer notes, spamming special 1 will help you trigger this often for a ton of damage. Okay, but to me, as someone that runs full suicides, spamming special 1 just makes me think of a ton of recoil damage. That's just what I think of. Fearsome Fighter for that special 1, 75% chance to inflict a 1.8 second stun debuff if at a combo meter of 40 plus, chance is instead 100% instead of 75%. Special attack 2, the Warrior Within, 100% chance to inflict an armor break debuff, removing 1 armor up buff and reducing armor rating by 1400 for 16 seconds. This armor break debuff is paused while Boon of the Gods is active. Special attack 3, God of Thunder. This attack cannot deal more than 20% of the opponent's max health and damage. This damage cap is increased to 30% if the opponent is suffering from an armor break debuff. 30% is not really that big of a deal, at least not on paper. 100% chance to inflict a shock debuff. Thank God there's a 100% chance somewhere in this. 100% chance to gain a Thunder God's Wrath passive lasting 30 seconds, which is not affected by blade accuracy reductions. That's all good. And then Renewed Spark, a signature ability that is always active. Thunder God's Wrath is enhanced to provide plus 2,118.4 attack rating. Additionally, each shock debuff on the opponent causes them to suffer minus 20% ability accuracy. Gain a ton of bonus damage with this new and improved Sig ability. Again, that's significant, but there's still so much RNG with this. All right. Hela, heal 10% of max health each time an opponent is knocked out. For Thor, Rag. When I think of 10% of max health, I think of the Restoration Kit synergy. Hela starts fight with 100 Spirit of the Dead charges. Hulk Ragnarok, Hulk Immortal Overseer, plus 15% attack rating while Thunder Gods is active. That could be significant. So, I mean, I'm fascinated by it, and some of these synergies make me more intrigued, but at the end of the day, like, am I going to go like, okay, now I got to throw Loki into my roster? Right now, no. When struck for the first time each fight, 100% chance to gain a combo shield passive lasting 10 seconds. Loki, Ascendant signature ability is enhanced to provide power gain while below 2 bars of health. Or 2 bars of power, excuse me. God, I'm tired. Teammates of Black Widow, Deadly Origin, Vision Age of Ultron, Captain America Infinity War, Perfect Black Champs, Odin, Health. Mastery, Stupefy. I always say Stupefy is just a great mastery in general. Despair, and we're done. I'm intrigued, but don't count me as excited. I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical that even though this is going to be a buff, how many times have we said in the past year or two that while a champion is improved, it's not enough to make the champion so excited that we immediately rank them up and don't regret it? I think about a few. Red Hulk is still on that list for me. Red Mags, even White Mags, for some of you, even though I don't use White Mags much. Venom. We've seen really good buffs, but we've also seen buffs that still just don't seem to be that different in terms of how we get excited about champions. Even somebody like OG Black Panther, though I do know somebody who's told me he wants to take his OG Black Panther to rank 3, so I'm excited to feature that. And look, I mainly play with the champions I play with, so I'm wrong all the time when it comes to being excited about a champion. Sometimes I'm wrong because I'm too excited. Sometimes I'm wrong because I'm not enough. That is the nature of predicting things. You're going to be wrong. But the biggest thing is I just want people to be excited to land on a champion. And hopefully that gets this way. Because Vegan Thor also could use some bigger muscles. Just saying. That's why I call him Vegan Thor. He looks like he's gone on a crazy diet and suddenly needs some protein. But there you have it, YouTube. Are you excited? I'm intrigued. But again, still skeptical. We'll see what happens when the new patch comes out.